Hello and welcome to our video clip for Maundy Thursday. Our theme for today is imitating the Master. Our thought for the day is, on his knees like a servant, Jesus turned human status upside down. Do I celebrate with the community of those who serve? Our Bible reading is from the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 5 to 15. After that, he poured water into the basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not every one was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you." Our reflection today is imitating the Master. Did you know that there are two known Sistine Chapel ceilings that exist in the world today? The first was painted by Michelangelo in the 16th century. And I'm amazed at the story of Gary Bevan, a gifted artist and sign writer from Goring-on-Sea in West Sussex, who during a pilgrimage to Rome in 1987 noticed that the Sistine Chapel ceiling was almost the same size and shape as his church back home. After gaining the necessary permission, and I wonder whether that's a faculty, from his diocesan bishop and priest, it took him 5.5 years to paint the replica of the Sistine Chapel ceiling, which has received artistic acclaim. It's worth noting that the ceiling height is some 30 feet lower than that of the original, and therefore much nearer to the admirer. Like the original, people have come from all over the world to see it. While gazing upon it, a question comes to mind. Is it cheating? As we reflect on our lives, people of my age will recall that we were educated in a system based on copying information from textbooks. Then we had to rote learn the facts. However, copying or imitating these days is generally assumed to be cheating. And to imitate someone is seen as lacking honesty and originality. What is striking about the teaching style of Jesus was that it was almost entirely based upon the principle of observation and imitation, an artisan with an apprentice, rather than a teacher with a pupil. Jesus asked his followers to copy what he did and to learn from the impact it had. In the passage from John's Gospel, the disciples are struggling to understand the point Jesus is making. In response, Jesus simply asks them to imitate him. A master teacher knows that the understanding will be deeper after the experience. He also knows that the experience of taking part will stay in their memory long after passive knowledge has been assigned to the unconscious. In contrast to most assessments we face in life, regurgitation of what is remembered, this is a different test. Jesus encourages his followers to dare to do as he does, and then to interpret the impact. As Jesus washes the disciples' feet, he no longer is instructing them, he is giving himself to them. Most of how we behave comes from imitating things we have seen and value in others. As a parent, this becomes an onerous and sometimes frightening responsibility. Everything we do, both good and bad, is observed and practiced. How we stand in photos, who we value, what causes us anxiety, how we shave, how we put on makeup, everything is watched and practiced. These behaviours become part of who we are and then the impact on our lives of others. They don't make us cheats or frauds. When I behave as I imagine Jesus would have, I am not doing it in order to be as something I am not, but in order to learn from and be changed by the experience. In imitating him, I can become slowly and with little failure along the way the very virtue I practice. There are lots of people who will helpfully tell you about virtue. The ones who really make an impact tend to practice them. I want to leave you with a question to reflect upon today. What does it mean to you to imitate Jesus? And what happens when you do? Let us pray. Infinite, intimate God, on this night you kneel before your friends and wash our feet. We are bound together in your love. Trembling we drink our cup and watch. We know that you have to complete the work for which you were sent. Amen. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Good Friday, for our final video clip this Holy Week.